Let's talk now a little bit, Bruce Feldman, about how Nebraska tried to fill the void of their game with Wisconsin being canceled, trying to get UT Chattanooga, whose conference decided to punt to next winter, I guess. Next February is UT Chattanooga's next scheduled game. Try to get them into Nebraska to play, and the Big Ten said no to that. So let me ask you a couple questions on this one. Number one, was it not decided before the schedule began that any canceled games could not be filled in with somebody from outside the Big Ten? Wasn't that already a given?
Yeah, those discussions, I think, were had to some degree, and I don't know. I think the pushback has come from Nebraska on a couple of fronts as it relates to this, and they went down the road, and I think what was significant to me to this by the Big Ten making its, kind of statement on this is, as I said, a minute ago, it would not be so very surprising if some other programs have to have postponements. Maybe they're not of their own doing, where they can play, but their opponent can't. And yet they're going to say, all right, well, it's not just, I mean, look, everybody watched Nebraska get thumped pretty soundly by Ohio State. The idea that Nebraska is worried about trying to get consideration for the CFP seems really far-fetched at this point. But what I think is a real consideration on their front is, one, their players only get so many windows at games in the fall, and that would be obviously a nod to them, but also it's, because again, the Big Ten's it's not like they're bringing in, fans now. So it's not like a huge gate opportunity as it is in other parts of college football. So from that standpoint, I don't think Nebraska's looking at going, hey, we'll have a win because it's UT Chattanooga. For the most part, I don't think anyone's going to go, give them a big pat on the back for that. I just think it's an opportunity for the players first and foremost. And I think that was one of the big considerations they were trying to push.
No, and I know that everybody wants reps and everyone wants games. And the point of having these games, if you do want to put the finances and the fact that, the Big Ten will have a marquee event for a second straight week with Fowler and Herbstreit calling it. And, you're checking a box with ESPN and you're checking a box about national prominence and keeping your team and your leagues right out there in front. And I totally get that Nebraska wants to have their kids play football. That's the idea of why they sued to get the attention of the Big Ten. But to try and bring somebody from out of the conference and say, you know what, we'll just test them, and then throw Nebraska back in the vector of the conference after that, to me is madness. That's the only word for it to me. And I will ask this question, based again on the reporting of our colleague Dan Wetzel at Yahoo. Does Nebraska want to be in the Big Ten? Seriously. Do they want to be part of this?
It really doesn't feel like it at this point, to be honest, because if you go back, a couple of decades now, Nebraska, as you and I both grew up around, was a powerhouse in the Big Eight. It was Nebraska and Oklahoma, and they were the heaviest of heavyweights. And then when they ended up in what was the Big 12, the power base really became Texas, right? I mean, that's kind of what it was. Texas had more influence and everything like that, and I think Nebraska bristled at that. And over time, Nebraska's program really has backslid quite a bit. I don't want to say it's backslid into mediocrity, but it's not. I don't want to say it's irrelevant either, because they have a really strong fan base and they've had some good teams and obviously had some good players. But I think this part they have wrestled with their own place, and maybe that I don't think is sitting well with a lot of folks there. And you look at this, and I'm not sure what the expectation is. Would they rather be in the Big 12 right now? They left the Big 12. Is that where they'd rather be? Because I'm not sure how much different the treatment is going to be if they were on their own in another place.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.